All right, let's see if this is working. Always gotta see if this is working. Looks like we're live. Okay, just making a little video for you, Josh. Hopefully you can hear this. Blah, blah, blah. Let's bring the audio to like here. Test, test, test. All right. All right. How's it going, Josh? Sorry, sketch. Just thought I'll do a quick video kind of draw over. I know this is like for an assignment and you need to get it done. So, you know, just a little bit of feedback, a little bit of nitpicking, just something for you to think about on the next time. It's looking pretty dope. Looking pretty dope so far. Let's see. Is this working? Yeah. Yeah, I just figure I'll give you a little bit of a kind of anatomy tips for you to consider for next time. Okay, face is looking good. I like that you used references as well. Liking the top part especially. Overall pretty good. You want a little bit of a dip here for the manubrium. Can I zoom this in more? Would it let me draw on it if I did? How does, nope. How do I, okay, I can rotate this way, but not that way. Very sad. That's fine. I guess we're going to be on this side of the screen. It's happening. Okay, so I like where you have the serratus. Usually for the lats, especially for like a very hyper masculine character like this, we want to have this kind of mass coming in, you know what I mean? And over here, something like that, just kind of this kind of mass. Transition from the pecs into the delts. Remember, this point over here is where a lot of things are going to be connecting. So I like that you have this indication over here. There's definitely a fossa over here, a little dip that should be indicated. And you know, this stuff is just gonna be kind of indicated, you know, just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of a dip for the manubrium, like we said, just a little bit. The line work here is nice, but it's not really necessary for something like this. Make sure that we have a nice dip here for the chromium process before it's gonna rise up. Okay. You know, a little bit of an indication for that manubrium process. And just you want to make sure that armpit indication is very clear. You know, what you had here for the serratus, it's probably fine. Probably fine. The pecs, most of the mass is going to be going this. Definitely want to see better indication of the triceps from there, right? And you want to make sure the brachioradialis starts out over here, right? Or actually, because this is supinated, we're going to see more of the bottom. So it's going to be something like this, probably. Maybe a little vein over here would be cool. Yeah, so remember the masses, the masses and where they're turning, right? So you're gonna get kind of the leading edge of that rib cage over here, and because it's very masculine, it's gonna be wider, so it's gonna open more convex, right? And then, you know, having some indication of the abs is fine, but you don't want to over indicate it. Probably put the belly button over here. All right, you know, the keg. You have your obliques over here, it's fine. Yeah, just really small things like that over here. I don't have that much of an issue. Probably want to indicate that funny bone from that angle. I think we'll see it before. Yeah, the rest is probably fine. And make sure that the bicep is coming from under the delt, not the delt going over the bicep there. This is just kind of like a style choice, but just again for very masculine characters like this, especially in Orc, I would take those hands and just exaggerate them a little bit in size. Just, you know, just bigger. Just bigger, smaller hands usually indicate kind of more tender, gentle character, you know. That's just a stylistic choice. Likewise, you can thicken out that neck, you know. You just could. Just to indicate more kind of mass. You know, just give it more imposing silhouette. Give it that strong hyoid bone, you know. Just small tweaks like that here and there. Anatomy's off on this face. Love this. I know you didn't have time, so there you go. So sad. I would look at some axes. I think this feels a little frail to me, and just you could definitely stylize it a little bit more, and just kind of straight top, going straight down, a little bit more exaggerated, like that. I think that something like that kind of silhouette, I think, would be, especially, and it's thicker because I'm imagining the hand would be thicker as well. Maybe a little bit of a spike over here or something. I don't know. Look at some axis. Look at some axis construction, because this feels very, very frail. Very frail. So look at some Viking axes. It's feeling good. Overall, there's a lot of fabric and stuff on here. Probably give it like a still toe kind of feel, so a little bit more angular on here, just as a stylistic choice, right? On this one, this whole leg, and again, I know you're not actually going to redo this, I'm just saying, you know, for the future. This whole leg, it kind of flattens out a little bit structurally. So imagine what's actually happening over here, right? This rock, and obviously this leg is going forward closer to the camera, right? Which means that this leg, if I'm doing a cylinder for it, right? First of all, it's going to be over here. It's going to be the crotch, okay? It's going to be all that stuff. So this leg is really going to be not that, just thinking of understructure, right? This leg, you had it way too spread out and going over there. So I expect the knee to kind of be somewhere in this area, somewhere over here. And then maybe it's heading back a little bit, right? And just maybe he's on the tiptoe, about to take a step forward, you know, something like this. Just indicating masses, you know, and the overall curve, something like that. Actually, I hate it. Probably would make it a little bit wider just for better stability. So if the gravity is going down there, let me redo this real quick. Is that as far as it's going to let us? Control Z? No worries, we've got eraser over here. It's not a painting program. No worries, no worries. Alright, so probably somewhere over here. Yeah, so not too far from where you had it, but the angles is all wrong, because if the knee is facing that forward, it's not going to be pointing that way. So I would just change the angle of this foot. And by the way, boots and legs at random angles like this is so hard to get right. So you definitely want to make sure you get references on those in the future. But anyway, you know, I would still have it kind of facing more towards the camera, something like that. Alright, and the musculature doesn't really matter here, just the masses. I'm going to do it anyway because of my OCD. Yeah, just make it a little bit more stable. You could probably bend this even further and raise it up, just to indicate, you know, the structure on this kind of rock structure. You know, having more hard edges to indicate this rock kind of situation. But really selling this on being more forward, you know, whatever. Yeah, small nitpicks like this. Yeah, and I know again you're on a time crunch. This is just for the future, right? This never change. In terms of, and clouds, by the way, is a really good way to control composition. So having just kind of a swirl to kind of guide the eye a little bit and help frame this, just a little bit of this stormy kind of swirl going around, I think would have been really cool to just really frame the composition and guide the eye, like especially like create a kind of like a line of motion from the axe to his head to this head and back and forth, especially since you have the rising stone right here, kind of creating this kind of composition, the circular composition. I think would have been really beneficial, and the clouds would have helped that. So small tweaks like that, something to consider in your future art. Overall, it's a great start. I love that you used a reference for this pose, so definitely keep going, man. Cool stuff. Especially if you're interested in characters, doing more and more sketches like this will be beneficial. All right, that's what I got for you, buddy. I'll catch you around. Keep up the good work. Well done.